The next postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. The young Spurs, undeterred by playing at MSG. Victor Wembanyama had 32 points. He was spectacular tonight. The rejection there. And then you had Stephon Castle putting the Spurs up by 7 late. 115-111 Spurs win. Knicks lead cut to 2-1 in the NBA Finals. Knicks fans dejected as the Knicks' 13-game winning streak comes to an end. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Steve, Novak, and Wally Szczerbiak. And guys, you got to give the Spurs credit. It was a madhouse to start, Steve. Spurs got off to a great start. Knicks had a phenomenal second quarter, and then the Spurs were able to win the second half, making the key plays in crunch time.
You know, they did, and I was in the building for the start of this game, and the energy that you could feel in there was wild. Yeah. It really was an incredible homecoming, the first finals game in New York in so long. And I think that this is the game that you really do. You gain some respect for San Antonio, because what New York did in the first two games, the way they went to San Antonio and they got those two victories, I think this was their opportunity to not, I imagine in their minds, end their season. And they responded. And Wemby stepped up. He played well, made a lot of the big plays, and they showed some real toughness for a young team.
For a young team, that's an impressive victory.
Yep.
They came out and did exactly what they needed to in the first quarter. They dominated the first quarter. They showed that they're not scared of the Knicks, and they think they can still win this series. They firmly believe in that locker room that this series is not over, and that is something that they needed to prove to themselves, and they needed to show the Knicks. Because when you drop those two games at home, that is not good at all. But obviously, they knew they could play at a high level on the road. They executed every single possession. Every game's going to be tight.
Yeah.
All these teams play tight games, and the Spurs found a way to make the plays. They didn't turn the ball over as much as the Knicks, and that's kind of been the swing in these games.
You know, guys, aside from the second quarter, the Spurs won every quarter. I mean, and they, to your point, they came out of those two home losses and said, you know what, we very easily could have won each game. They were up at the end of game one. They had a lead late in game two. They had the lead late in game one. Jalen Brunson's heroics helped the Knicks. But they came into this environment with this young team, and you got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, now, guys, we got a series now.
We have a series.
100%.
The other side of this is the Knicks have been playing so well. And when they're sweeping Philly and you're sweeping Cleveland, you do sort of get this impression that that's a real thing. This is the playoffs. This is the finals. That's not a normal thing. And I was actually in the back hallway over at the Garden during the game and was by the San Antonio Spurs. They had music going. They had a confidence. They were jumping around. They were really loose. And when I walked by their team and they were coming out of the locker room and they were all getting loose and feeling good, I thought to myself, boy, for the buzz that's happening in that building right now and the excitement and the buildup for this game, to be 20, 21, 22-year-old guys, I thought to myself, they're either ignorant or they're really confident. And I think this game showed it's the latter. They're a very confident team. Like you said, I think Coach Mitch Johnson is telling this group, you could have won those games.
Yep.
And I think they came out and they played like they thought they could have won those two games at home.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance. That fourth quarter, they dominated. And their defense is not allowing the Knicks to get any good looks. I'll tell you, the Knicks are struggling to generate good looks at the basket. Wembanyama, when he rolls, he's a big problem. He attracts a lot of attention. There he gets the alley-oop dunk. He had a couple dunks to start the game. Knicks got a fortunate call there. The game was about to be 10 points. But the great challenge by Jordan Brink and Mike Brown to keep that game at 7. And then Jalen Brunson doing what he does. You know, Jalen Brunson scored, got to his points, but he took a lot of shots, 25 shots to get to 32 points, 11 for 25. You know, the Knicks had some guys knock down some shots, but this is going to be a very tight series. And this Spurs team, they're not known as good closers, but, Steve, they closed tonight, and they made some big shots and some big plays.
You know, they did. And I think if you think about those kind of blocks, this kind of close, and doing it after losing those first two games at home, you know this was the hardest game
that cut it to 4.
Big time
right there. That was a big-time play and big-time shot.
And then, like you said, they made some big plays, and Wemby's continued to be unselfish.
7-point game right there.
Castle, that's a huge three.
Huge three.
And you got to give him credit. Those were some big shots late that if they missed those, you know you have Jalen Brunson coming back at you.
Answer the bell.
OG Anunoby banging down some big shots as well. But De'Aaron Fox, not a good night for him. Missing shots all night, but the ball ends up in his hands, and he makes the biggest shot of the night. Before OG Anunoby almost makes it a
cuts
game.
It to 2.
To 2 points.
2-point game, and then big free throws by Castle. Knocks down both those free throws, pushes the lead to 4, and then you know, with 9 seconds left, you're not going to get back in that game. But this series is tight. Look at these numbers. They're all tight right there. In order to win, you're going to have to execute in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks did not execute.
Let's hone in on that bottom number, with the Knicks committing 13 turnovers, resulting in 21 points for the Spurs. Also, the free throw shooting differential. The Knicks, a home team in the second half, goes 6 of 8 from the line in the second half, while in the second half, the Spurs go 20 of 24 from the line. So let's bring Alan Hahn in from across the street. Alan, your reaction to what you saw tonight?
Well, we saw the Knicks offense really stalled, and it was just a lot of trying to fight through some physical defense. And this has been a story in this series, of course. The Knicks really did struggle with this one, and I thought a lot of unforced errors with their offense. 13 turnovers, but to yield 21 points off turnovers, that's usually what the Knicks are doing to their opponents. So you really have to credit the Spurs and their physicality defensively and what they've been able to do in taking away some of the ball movement and the cutting that the Knicks have been able to exploit other teams with. But this was another game, just like the first two games. It comes down to the last 2 minutes and making shots. And for the first time in this series, it was the Spurs that were making the shots. You got to tip your cap to this young team. Come into a place like this, as loud as it got, especially in that fourth quarter. Some big buckets, including that Vassell shot clock buzzer. He doesn't make that shot. This could be a different ending.
Well, Alan, this Knicks team had won 13 straight playoff games. What a run up to this point. And now they lose a tough one at home with a lot of expectation and build-up before this game. What now, while this Knicks team finally has the opportunity to make some adjustments and not say, just catch me if you can? What adjustments, obviously, after this fresh loss right here, do you think they're going to need to make, going to need to talk about, and think about going into Game 4 still back here in New York at the Garden?
I think it's a matter of just cleaning up what they were doing offensively. I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns got as involved in the offense as we've seen him in the past. And that is something, of course, that they've got to look at film and see what happened there. Mikal Bridges as well, really not involved. He's had a great run through the 13-game winning streak. His numbers were fantastic, but in this game really never found a rhythm. And I do think a lot of it has to do with the ball getting stuck on offense. And I think that's a lot to credit to what the Spurs did defensively. I just feel like this series has been literally a slugfest. And it is something that the Knicks continue to have to adjust to, I think, especially in the backcourt, because it has really slowed their offense down.
And, Alan, how important is the start? I thought the fact that San Antonio comes out and just establishes in that first quarter, they dominated the first quarter and was going to make the Knicks play chase to get the crowd into the game. How important is it for the Knicks to get off to a good start in Game 4?
See, well, I actually thought it was the third quarter start for the Spurs that really was a difference maker. Because, you know, the Spurs have had good starts in every game, and the Knicks have had great second quarters in every game. And once again, the Knicks have a great second quarter, 42 points, franchise record in the NBA Finals, and they had a lead at halftime. And instead of building on that lead, they get the quick fouls, they get the Spurs on the free throw line, and the Spurs are the team with the advantage, and the Spurs are the team that has momentum in that third quarter. That third quarter was the turning point of the game, if you ask me, because the crowd was ready to explode if the Knicks could have built on that lead in the third quarter, and the Knicks were not able to do that. So I really look at getting off to better starts in third quarter, because they were doing that in the first two games of this series. They did not do that tonight.
All right, Alan, we'll see you soon as you make your attempt to cross 7th Avenue. Hopefully, we'll see you sooner than later.
I will do my best. See you soon.
All right, the Knicks lost the third quarter by 8, lost the fourth quarter by 3. Disappointed crowd filing out as the Spurs win Game 3 by 4. Welcome back, everyone, as the Spurs beat the Knicks by 4. Excitement nonetheless, watching at Bryant Park. And, Steve, there was a watch party at Central Park, Steve Novak. 115-111 as the Knicks lead in the series is cut to 2-1. Jalen Brunson had 32 but shot only 11 out of 25. How about OG Anunoby? Big plays presented by Four Leaf Credit Union. Steve, he was spectacular, Anunoby. 28 points, 9 of 12 shooting from the floor.
Well, he's become a true shot maker, and he does so much more than that. But when you see his ability to make shots all the way down to late in the game when you're thinking the Knicks might be out of it, and he still pulls something out of his hat and is able to make shots. He has been such a solid player on both ends of the floor for this team. He's the heartbeat. He's the guy when you go, yes, there's Jalen Brunson. Yes, Karl-Anthony Towns, the guys that get talked about the most. But when he's out there with them, too, It is why this team is in the finals. Him and Mikal Bridges, to me, are the heartbeat of this team and what make them that next level. There are role players, if you want to call him that, with a ceiling that's different than any other teams in the NBA, especially with what they're showing over these last 14 games. But that shot right there, unbelievable just to see he stays with it. Doesn't seem like he can miss some games.
No, and in a series, you got to identify who's the guy that has a little bit of a matchup advantage. So with the defenders that the Spurs throw at you, they're all 6'5". They're relentless. They're tenacious. Anunoby's 6'8". So if you notice, those shots, the defenders were in the right spots. They're in the right positions, but he has a little bit of a height advantage, so he can see over Castle, over Vassell, and over Dylan Harper. So the Knicks are going to have to make some adjustments going into Game 4 and say, Jalen Brunson, he can't see over those guys. He struggles to create good shots and good looks, whereas Anunoby's a guy that can create some good opportunities for us. He's going to have the ball in his hands more in Game 4 because he's the guy that has a little bit of a matchup advantage against most of their perimeter defenders.
You mentioned Mikal Bridges, only 2 points tonight, only took 5 shots. Monica McNutt, back across the street, helped call the game as always on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, what's your reaction to what you saw tonight?
I think you knew that the Spurs were going to come out with urgency. They didn't get here by any fluke, and I thought it was going to be a game where the Knicks would have to put the opponent away, and I thought they kind of just flirted with the victory down the stretch and were close enough, played well enough to win, but not well enough to put this team away emphatically. I look at the turnovers immediately as an area that was just super uncharacteristic of them, and I thought that the pace of this one actually played into the favor of the Spurs as well because the Knicks were so stagnant in the half court. Outside of like that second quarter, I just thought every shot that they got was so difficult and well guarded by the Spurs. They've got to get back to that offense that created a little bit more movement and confusion for the defense, I think.
Well, Monica, we know that the first 2 games in San Antonio, New York, it seemed like took San Antonio's heart. And you know if you win the first 3 games in a playoff series, historically a series is over. But on the other hand, San Antonio comes in, they get a big win, they're a young group. What does this win do for their confidence as they're in their locker room right now, looking each other in the eye? What are they feeling like going into Game 4, do you think?
Novak, I think it levels them out because one of the things that I thought about through the first 2 games, as much as Victor Wembanyama has been praised for wearing his heart on his sleeve and not being shy about how much he loves the game of basketball and how badly he wants to win, I thought the Spurs as a collective were a little too emotional. And I thought that was an area where the Knicks' veteran experience had showed an advantage. I think tonight, it levels them out, right? Stephon Castle has 18 points in the first half and 5 monster points in the fourth quarter, in the second half, in the fourth quarter, in fact. Outside of that, you don't hear from him in the second half. And so I think they have found their level in terms of their emotions. You know that they're going to be physical with everybody, in particular Jalen Brunson. And so now I'm sure they're in that locker room saying that we've found our way. We need to do more of that, and we can win close games as well, because I'm sure they thought they should have won Game 2.
All right, Monica. As always, we appreciate it. Oh, well,
That's all right.
I apologize.
Come on, Bill. Let Wally
Is
ask
he getting rid of me already?
No, I'd never do that. Monica, Wally, you're up.
Too much Sour Patch Kids for
Come
this guy.
on, Wally, get this guy together.
He's got to lower the blood pressure. All right, Monica. So last year against the Celtics, Knicks win both of them on the road. Come back for Game 3, they lose at home. They end up winning this series. How did the Knicks adjust and find a way to win this series and win Game 4?
Wally, I think it's got to go back to some of that offense we saw versus Atlanta, and I thought we saw that in the fourth tonight. Landry Shamet got loose on a backdoor cut, I believe. But I heard you say it, and you're right. The Spurs are totally fine guarding man up, not really sending help. The one time they sent help coming out of an ATO, it favored the Knicks, so they really weren't sending double teams. The Knicks are going to have to figure out a way to make that defense more uncomfortable, find soft spots in the defense. The numbers, guys, when Jalen Brunson coming into tonight was guarded by Julian Champagnie as his primary defender, it was 9 of 11. When Stephon Castle was his primary defender, he was 2 of 10. And so there's a difference there. So if the Knicks just live with Stephon Castle guarding Jalen Brunson, that plays into the formula of the Spurs. So I think the Knicks got to get a little bit more creative in their offense, create some more switches, create some more movement. And of course, they can't turn the basketball over. I thought that was very flattening for them throughout the course of the night.
Monica, now we say thank you.
Bye, Pidto. You're just trying to get rid of me. I understand. We lost. We're not used to losing. I get it.
Never. See you on Wednesday, all right?
Sounds good.
All right. We talked a little bit here about Victor Wembanyama. He was spectacular tonight. Absolutely spectacular. Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn. Untuckit.com. Wally Wemby, 11 of 18. 32 points, virtually unstoppable tonight.
And it started in the first quarter. He got 3 dunks in the first couple possessions of the game, and he actually dunked with a little bit of, like, anger. You know, he kind of pulled the rim down a little bit. You could see he was kind of showing a little bit of moxie and swagger. And, you know, it was a complimentary 32 points, too, because his guys around him, they set the tone in that first quarter, the way they played. Stephon Castle getting to the front of the rim whenever he wanted. He had 18 points midway through the second period. Dylan Harper continuing to cause the Knicks problems, getting to the rim. And then Victor with his defense. I mean, watching that game from up above, where I was watching it from, you can really see the space on the floor and how much space he covers. And the Knicks, they were getting some, you know, driving lanes, getting some advantages, but he's kind of just lurking out there. And then as a result, on the weak side, the defenders who are guarding the three-point shooters, they don't have to help and sink into the paint as much. So when the ball is sprayed out to the three-point shooters, there's not as much room to get that shot off. And a lot of it is because you don't have to help as much as an alternate defender when Wemby's the help defender, because he allows you to stay stuck to your guys. And that's one of the reasons why the Knicks, I think, struggle to generate good shots.
How can they make things easier for Jalen Brunson? He did go for 32, guys, but he's 30 for 81.
Wembanyama makes things difficult.
No, but I'm talking about at the point of attack to get things.
Jalen got by his guy a few times. He got by him, but then when Jalen gets by him, he gets that little space that he normally pulls up. But Wemby, when he's the drop defender, those arms, those are 8-foot-long arms, wingspan, and Jalen's looking around like, I don't think I can get the shot up. Yeah. So then he reads and he kicks it out, but the defenders know that Jalen can't get that shot up, so they're not helping. That's what I saw a lot. This Spurs defense is very disciplined, and they know to trust Wemby to be their primary help defender, so they don't need to leave the other shooters as much.
They got to go crack the defender, whoever's out there. If it needs to be Mitch going up there and setting a hard screen, nothing dirty, but you got to free him up. You got to give him some space, because we saw when Jalen was not getting those calls early in the first game, and he was mad, he ran up on Scott Foster, and he kind of had an edge to him, and you saw him talking some trash. He had a little different pep in his step, and he got some separation from those San Antonio guards. But there's other times, whenever he gets a little separation to be creative and get into his bag, you see all of a sudden the space that he gets for his shot, for his creation, his ability to score at all 3 levels, at the rim, mid-range, and from 3. And so I do think either him playing with just a little bit more pep, creating a little more space for himself, or that space being created for him so he can be the creator. Because I thought when Jose Alvarado came in the game, he did a great job of getting downhill, getting in the paint, creating some chaos, the speed. And so Jalen can do that too, and he does at times, but he has some big responsibility to score and to play some big minutes. So some good defenders on this Spurs team as well, making it pretty hard on them, but got to be physical with those guys.
All right, as it is, guys, the Knicks, their first loss since April the 23rd.
46 days ago.
April the 23rd. What will Mike Brown have to say? We'll find out right after this. All right, welcome back. A reminder to stream Knicks pre- and post-game coverage during the NBA Finals, plus hours of on-demand content anywhere you go. Download the Gotham Sports App. It's free with your MSG TV subscription. Sign in to start streaming today. Knicks lose tonight by 4. Mike Brown's post-game comments, as always, presented by Chase.
First of all, I want to make sure I get something clear. Coach Mitch Johnson and the Spurs, they won the game tonight. They came and took the game. But I will say this, I never thought I'd be in the NBA Finals and see a team get 24 free throw attempts in the second half to another team's 8. And I don't think I complain much about officials or the fairness when it comes to the free throw attempts. San Antonio is a great team. They're a great team. Okay? It's going to lower our odds big time if we play game 4 and in the second half, they get 24 free throw attempts to our 8. And maybe we were fouling. But they fouled too. Cat gets the ball off a loose ball rebound. and he shoots it, and he gets whacked across the arm, and they hit the ball, and it goes out of bounds on the baseline. There's no foul. There were opportunities for fouls to be called to at least try to even the free throws out. Now, we didn't play good. San Antonio played great. We could have played better. There were a lot of things that we didn't do that we've done, that we did in game 1 and game 2. But to go 24 free throw attempts in a second half, that's 48 for the game if you think about it the way that they called that second half, compared to 8. All the shots we took, we got fouled 4 times, roughly, for 8 free throw attempts. Again, I don't complain much. I never thought I'd see that in an NBA Finals game. And I saw it tonight. That's tough to overcome when you're playing against a great team. Having said that, again, San Antonio won the game. I'm giving their head coach and their players a lot of credit. Wemby played great. Stephen Castle played great. I can go down the line. Fox hit a big shot late. But as a team, if you take away the fouls and the free throws that should have, in my opinion, been a little bit more even. Again, maybe we fouled that many times, but they fouled too. And it's not shown at the end of the day on this box score. Besides that, that's separate. Besides that, I thought that San Antonio, they hit first at the beginning of the game, and they hit first at halftime. They hit first at the beginning of the game, and they hit first at halftime. Their level of physicality was great tonight for them. Our attention to detail on both ends of the floor wasn't great. We allowed them to live in our paint. Castle got to the paint at will. Almost every pick and roll he played. Not only that, we talked about taking away the vertical threat of Wemby. He had probably 7 lob dunks because we didn't follow attention to detail in trying to take that away. If you give them vertical dunks like that and you allow them to get into the paint like Harper and Castle did, it's going to be a long night. And then offensively, we were about as stagnant as I've seen us all year, which helped with the 13 turnovers. If you're in an NBA Finals game and you have 13 turnovers to their 8, and on those 13 turnovers, they generated 21 points, and on their 8 turnovers, we generated 7, it's going to be tough. The turnover situation, the free throw situation, and our attention to detail about keeping them out the paint and taking away the vertical threat, not good tonight.
First question on the left, Rohan.
Mike, on your left. Obviously, there was a lot of anticipation for this game. What did you think of the environment tonight? And did you have any concerns about kind of all the extra stuff that went into this game having any effect on your guys leading up to it?
No, it is what it is. This is the NBA Finals. There's going to be a lot of distractions, and you just got to, as best you can, block them out and go play the game. What was the first part of your question?
What did you think of the environment?
Our fans, man. The fans are great. The energy around the city, the energy in the building, it's off the charts, and you love it.
Over here, James.
Mike, over here to your right.
Oh, right here.
Obviously, a lot was made of just the 13-game winning streak and the type of effort you guys were giving on both sides of the floor. But those of us who have been with you guys all year, resiliency has kind of been the theme of this group. Yeah. It's been so long since you guys have lost. I know you'd love to be up 3-0, but how kind of eager are you to see a pissed-off Knicks team for the first time in a little bit?
I told our guys it's a 7-game series for a reason. They're a great team. They're well coached. They got an iconic player. It's not going to be easy, and we have to keep trying to take one game, one possession at a time. But there are some things that we can control that I didn't think that we controlled tonight. And then, like I said, I'm maybe we fouled 24 times, but I'm baffled that they only fouled 8 in the second half.
Same corner, Fred.
Mike, to your right. You mentioned the stagnancy offensively.
Yeah.
What do you feel like led to that, and what do you feel like kind of didn't seem like quite as much involvement from Carl in general there on the offense? What did you feel like led to that as well?
We were just playing a lot of drag into what we call, summertime, which is just kind of ball movement and body movement. And we just wanted to stand and watch one guy dribble a ton. And then when the ball got passed, there were no quick decisions by the guy receiving the basketball. So we have actions we can get into that we didn't do a good job of getting into, first of all, but it's okay, because you're not going to be able to run plays all the time, especially with how physical they are playing defensively. Sometimes you just got to go by guys. But you got to be smart. You got to take care of the basketball. You got to space right. You got to move the ball. You got to move bodies. And we've done that, quite a bit, and we didn't do a good job of it tonight.
Over here.
The inconsistency you're talking about in the officiating, did you take this up did you talk to them about it? And if so, what was their explanations as to why some things were getting called and some weren't?
Yeah, I talked to them. They outshot us 14-3 in the third quarter from the free throw line, and I talked to them, and they said, well, this is a foul, this is a foul. I said, okay, maybe right, but here are examples where they fouled and it didn't get called. That's the question that I have is that's the question I had with them is, you're right. Maybe we did foul, but they fouled too. And it's like I said, if they do this in Game 4, where it's 24-8 in the second half, it's going to be tough for us to win. Now, there again, I don't want, and it's going to be that because I said it, the story is going to be that, but there are some controllables that we did not do a good job of doing. We allowed them to hit first at the beginning of the game. We allowed them to hit first at the beginning of the second half, and we turned the ball over, and we were stagnant offensively, and we allowed them to get to the paint. And we did not pay attention to detail with what we're supposed to do defensively. So there are a lot of things that we can do better, and we're going to have to do better. But in the same breath, like I said, hopefully they'll see some more fouls called against them, so it's not 24-8 this is a 4-point ball game. It's a 4-point ball game. It's a one-possession ball game going down the stretch, and it's tough to overcome.
Take last two, David, and then Zach in the back.
Mike on your left. How much of tonight was them running maybe some different actions or different versions to kind of try to get Vic deeper into the paint, and how much of it was, as you said, your guys maybe not tagging and finding some of the ways to kind of impede him from getting deep position in the paint?
Again, I give San Antonio, their staff and their players a lot of credit. They just stayed with it, tried to execute, and we did not do a good job with the details. So I think it's a combination of both, because they had to execute their actions, and then we had to make sure that we tried to execute our defensive responsibilities, and we didn't do a really good job with it.
Zach, all the way in the back.
Mike, the fourth quarter of Game 2, Cat didn't get a lot of touches, and then tonight, kind of the similar. Is San Antonio doing anything differently in terms of how they're defending him?
No, it's the same thing. It was the way we played and the things that we were doing offensively. We were just coming down and just basically playing drag, and we get the first screen, and then we literally just stood and watched, and there was no movement. There was no, sometimes Cat has to flash to the elbow. Sometimes he's got to post up, and it's just got to be, it can't be because they're junking the game up by just putting Vic in one of the two corners. And so if they junk the game up, I can call a play, but sometimes you're going to have to just move and cut can pass the ball quicker and drive the ball quicker because it's almost a zone that they're in to a certain degree. And we didn't do a good job of attacking it. We didn't do a great job of attacking it in game 2, but the free throw discrepancy wasn't as big, and we took care of the ball a little bit better. And then defensively, in game 2, we were a lot better with the details of what we needed to do.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Cat, by the way, scored only 11 points. As for Mitchell Robinson, only played 7 minutes and was a minus 13. Spurs win game 3, 115 to 111. Back for tonight's dime drop presented by Corona. Steve, the Knicks had 18 assists. The Spurs had 28 assists.
Yeah, and it felt like that. As the game went on, and really from the start of the game, there were some turnovers that led to some momentum for the Spurs to get out and run. They were passing the rock. Spacing was excellent, I thought, for San Antonio tonight. Wemby allows for that. And look, De'Aaron Fox is a guy who he didn't have a great night scoring the ball, but led their team with 8 assists. And then Wemby not getting enough credit, I thought, for really being a facilitator. He's the one catching lobs on some of these. But 6 assists from him, a lot of the compliments we've given Cat. I thought Wemby played a lot like Cat has those first 2 games.
All right, guys, reminder, Wednesday, our pregame coverage begins at 7. Thursday and Friday, we have Knicks Talk live at 8. And that's the case tomorrow as well. And we know there's going to be a Game 5 back in San Antonio on Saturday. That's what is ahead for us here between now and Saturday. Much to come here on the postgame show as the Knicks go down by 4. We'll be back after this.
The recent Thank You NYPD concert held at Madison Square Garden will become an annual celebration to recognize the New York City Police Department. A check for $500,000 was presented to the New York City Police Foundation to innovate and enhance the quality of NYPD services, build bridges with the community, and make our city a safer place to live, work, and visit. To learn more about the Thank You NYPD initiative launched by MSG Entertainment, visit msg.com/NYPD.
Back now, Wally, for energizing plays presented by C4 Energy. Josh Hart, by the way, great game. 13 of his 16 in the first half.
Yeah, a lot of those energizing plays happened in the second quarter for the Knicks. The Spurs were doing it the whole entire game. Cat in beast mode there, eyeing down De'Aaron Fox, the fellow Kentucky Hooper. That was a mischaracteristic play there by Jordan Clarkson. Just a little miscommunication with Josh Hart led to that easy 2. But then Wemby rolling to the basket, he's a real problem. He got a bunch of dunks early in the first quarter. Then he continued to put pressure on the rim with his ability to finish. This Spurs team, they showed that they're going to make this a series. Game on for the New York Knicks. They got to make some serious adjustments. They can get the next game, but they're going to have to play at a really high level, and I think they're going to have to generate a lot more looks in transition before that Spurs defense is set, because in the half court, the Knicks struggle to generate good looks.
Alan Hahn's made his way back across the street. What's interesting about this game, the Knicks scored 42 points in the second quarter. It's the most points they've ever scored in a finals quarter. 42-24, they outscored the Spurs in the second quarter, but they couldn't do it in any of the other quarters. How come?
Well, it was really, again, the start of the second half. It just felt like they didn't build off of what they had going into the half, where they built themselves a lead, and they really could have taken control of this game. But you still have to credit the Spurs. I mean, they're the desperate team. They know they can't lose this game, because if they lose this game, essentially the series is over. And Victor Wembanyama answered the bell. He had 2 days off. He needed them because he was clearly tired at the end of Game 1 and Game 2. But with 2 days off, it allowed him to refresh. He was going into the paint. He was not playing that perimeter game we saw in Games 1 and 2 when he was taking as many shots from 3 as he was in the paint. In this game, 13 attempts in the paint. He took only 4 from three-point range. That's a better balance for a guy his size. So if he can continue to do that, this is going to be a tough series for the Knicks. But there's only 1 day off now, and he's got to play a Game 4 on Wednesday night. What's he got left in the tank to play another level like this? And the Knicks have to make the adjustment if he's going to find himself moving to the paint more.
All right, so you got Wemby with 32. Cat tonight, we've talked about the fact he only scored 11. When we come back, we're going to get the post-game reaction from Karl Anthony Towns and also Josh Hart. Hart was excellent, especially in the first half, but Knicks lose Game 3 by 4. There's the Empire State Building. The Knicks lose tonight, 115-111. Their series lead now down to 2-1. To the podium for Josh Hart and Kat.
Mike came in and said that there was kind of some stagnancy and maybe they punched first. I guess, does that surprise you? And do you kind of feel like that happened, that they kind of came out a little bit more aggressive at first?
No, it doesn't surprise us at all. You know, they were down 2-0. You knew they were going to come out with a sense of urgency and a sense of desperation. We should have started the game off better. We should have started the third quarter off better. So, you know, back to 0-0. We're going to learn tomorrow, watch film, and prepare for the game on Thursday.
Right in front, Chris.
Mike also spoke a lot about the officiating, and I'm not trying to get you guys fined, but what is it like throughout the course of the game dealing with that frustration, especially in such a high-pressure environment? Mike talking about the discrepancy in second-half free throws.
No, that didn't cost us the game. Turned the ball over, didn't execute, didn't do what got us 13 straight wins in a row. That's how you lose a game. We didn't do what we've been doing for 13. We decided to do something different. It ain't gonna work, and throwing the ball away is a clear indication of how you're gonna lose a game, especially in the playoffs.
Rohan on your left.
To your left, guys. Do you feel like, obviously there was a lot of anticipation for this game, the crowd kind of lived up to the expectations you had? And secondly, with all the extra kind of attention, security, et cetera, that went into this game, were you guys worried about that at all, kind of having any effect whatsoever on your performance?
Of course, our fans brought it. They always do. Of course, they lived up to the expectations, exceeded them. We didn't do our job to give them something to cheer for after the game. And that nothing has to do with us stepping on that court and executing and being disciplined in our game plan approach.
Right here in the front.
Alana Ambrosio from Amazon Prime Brazil. You guys stayed for 45 days without losing. Does this loss here in the first game since the finals from '99 at your home make you feel annoyed, angry, or especially mad that you lost this game?
I mean, you're always disappointed when you lose. You always want to step on that court and win. It's always about being in the present. And to be in the position that we were going into halftime, to come out in the third the way we did, and to not find a way to win the game, obviously, is disappointing. It's always going to be disappointing to lose. We're competitors, every single one of us in this locker room. We want to win every single time we step on the floor. So, of course, we're going to be disappointed, but we also are professionals and understand that tomorrow we got to get back to work, get back to the drawing board, and get ready for Game 4.
Again, here in the front.
Hey, Fifi from New York Daily News. For either one of you two, just in the fourth quarter down the stretch, what did you make out of it? Did you just shots that you took didn't fall, or was there anything other teams doing that made it difficult for you guys to really get on the run to come back?
I mean, there was a couple shots that didn't fall that we had good looks on. I feel like we didn't get enough stops to win the game. We get stops, we play our brand of basketball, and you're not worried about makes and misses. So, like I said, we got to learn from it, watch film tomorrow. At the end of the day, whether we won or lost, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to watch film tomorrow, get better, and prepare for the game on Thursday. So, same mentality.
When we come back, more post-game reaction. How about Jordan Clarkson? Huge off the bench tonight. Scored 10 points. We'll hear what he has to say when we come back after this. Welcome back. The Spurs win tonight by 4. Time now for our BritBox player interview. BritBox Stream, the best of British TV. Jordan Clarkson tonight off the bench had 10 points.
First time in a while you're after a loss as a club. How do you respond?
0-0 for us. Win the next game.
Offensively, you gave the team some real energy and some firepower. What about the rest of the club there in the fourth?
You know, we made shots towards the end. We never want to be in that position. But, you know, we put ourselves in that early in the game with turnovers and stuff like that. But we'll continue to be us and try to get this next one.
Throughout this playoff run, you guys have been able to close games. Why weren't you able to do that, and they were today?
They just made plays, honestly. We got to go back and watch the film and really see what they did in terms of the end of the game. But, you know, we still made shots. OG with a late shot, Jalen with a late shot to keep us in the game. so yeah, we'll go back and study the end of that game. And, yeah.
What do you think it says about this team to have lost the first 2 games at home and then show up and win game 3?
I think for us, we just got to focus on the little things. They came out here, played physical, and got to win here. But for us, we just got to focus on the little things, the details. I think a big thing for us, like I said earlier, is our turnovers, and cut that down, and we in the game.
Kel, the team had a 7-point lead at the half. What turned in the second half?
I think we come out that third quarter aggressive enough, had some turnovers to start and get them confidence and start that third.
For them to
Yeah, they're a really good team. They're here for a reason. They did a great job. We got to be better. I got to be better for next game.
Team, for the first time in about 2 months now, you're, after a ball game, going to be thinking about the next game after a loss. How does this team respond in that regard?
We're good. We're fine. We'll be all right. Regroup tomorrow. Learn from our loss and be ready on Wednesday.
Only 18 assists tonight for the team. What were they doing to disrupt you on the offensive end?
I think offensively we just got to be a little better, just moving. I think we got a little stagnant. I think we just got to keep moving, spacing, and be better with that.
What do you think was the difference tonight?
Yeah, I think they just play harder than us, more physical. We got to be better next game.
Mikhail, you mentioned that third quarter to start this game. I mean, there was so much energy in the building. Do you feel like that kind of broke the momentum when you had to for halftime there? Momentum and energy in this building to start. I mean, from the national anthem, it was crazy in there. Do you feel like it deflated? You didn't get to carry that momentum through halftime?
Win streak, you've obviously been super confident.
All right, post-game comments there from Mikal Bridges. Jalen Brunson led the Knicks with 32. Talk about, however, how the Spurs have kind of kept them in check. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Tonight's thrilling moment brought to you by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. Jalen Brunson, how about that? Said, I don't know how. He looked at it left hand and said, I don't know how that went in either. Scored 32, but shot only 11 of 25 from the floor and is only 30 for 81 in this series. Back now from the corner three, presented by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer. Alan, how about in the first half? We've talked a lot about the physicality on Brunson, and an example, Wembanyama on Brunson in the first half and no call.
Yeah, I can't understand how this is nothing, and it's not the only time in this series we've seen Wembanyama get away with shoves like this. I mean, that's the back of the head, back of the neck kind of thing. Brunson was ticked off as he should be, went right towards him. It's a good thing nothing happened from there. Instead, he wanted to set a hard screen on him. Wemby just grins, but when you watch this back, guys, you guys played in the league.
That's ridiculous. And and this is to Mike Brown's point. I mean, the Spurs aren't fouling. 24-8 in the second half. That's not a foul. You don't re-adjudicate that somehow, some way to see if that's some kind of flagrant. That's not basketball. That's a foul. Yeah. And the refs missed it. And that's Mike Brown's point in his post-game press conference. The refs missed a lot of fouls that could have been called, not just could have, should have been called by the officials against the Spurs.
Yeah, and obviously you're looking here, and I think this is part of Coach Brown's problem, is there's possessions like that, and he's saying, look, our guys are fouling. They're not perfect, but look at these numbers. 84 total free throws for San Antonio versus 61. And then you go back and watch the film and you see a mush.
In a play like that?
Said, and what about Jose Alvarado, a play a game ago? Same thing. It was Wemby doing the same thing to him. And so you think about the technical foul that Mitchell Robinson got when he pushed up on Wemby.
Exactly.
Which
was the technical foul that Josh Hart got when Cornette just comes flying in there. It was a very awkward play. But then Hart gets the technical. Come on now. Because he retaliates when he gets flattened because Cornette comes and grabs a rebound. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff going on.
Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs win it tonight. Wembanyama had 32. Spurs win at 115-111. Welcome back, everyone, to the Knicks' 4-point loss tonight. OG Anunoby was brilliant with 28 points, 9 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 7 from downtown. Here's OG now at the podium.
OG, what did you see out of your defense tonight? It's the most points you guys have allowed in the playoffs. did they do anything different, or was it just it wasn't there tonight?
Probably just we weren't as connected as we normally are. We had some mental mishaps and allowed some easy buckets, and also just our transition defense wasn't where we wanted it to be. So.
Go ahead up front, Chris.
OG, Chris Persiano with Clutch Points. Appreciate you taking the time. Mike talked about a stagnance offensively for you guys, and I think sometimes you play a bit of like college offense, a lot of screening off the ball. Why didn't that happen today, and what can you kind of do to bridge that gap in Game 4?
I think we're just a little bit out of rhythm. Sometimes this is how it goes, but we're just going to look at the film, review, see what we can fix up, and just try to prevent it from happening again. You're welcome.
We're going to go second row over here. Just here comes a mic.
Ramon de Montes, Deportes en Línea. With a game like this where you had a good offensive performance and maybe a couple plays could have went different, you guys would have won the game. How hard is it to look back on a game and analyze it?
You never want to lose a game, but I mean, this is the finals. They're a great team. They weren't just going to lay down, and that's how it goes sometimes. So all we can do is move forward, review the film, and we have practice tomorrow. Just try to get better.
Over here, again on the right.
Hey, OG, Hannah Kaiser from CNN. It's been so long since you guys have lost a game, and you did sort of come up so close, and it came down to the wire. Is it a surprising feeling right now to be sitting here having lost?
Not a surprising feeling. You know, they're a great team as well. They weren't just going to lay down. All we can do is move on and learn from this and take it as adversity, you know, and just respond to it.
Standing on the right.
OG, Joe Messeri, Pix 11. You had a couple turnovers to start the game. Coming out of the half, there were a couple turnovers again to start the half. Was it something the Spurs were doing differently here, or is this just something on you guys maybe that you need to adjust? Too much energy in the building or whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, they play good defense as well. And then also we just weren't as clean as we'd like to be. It was a whole team effort. We just weren't on the same page. And so all we can do is review the film, try to improve, and just be better.
We'll go next question here in the front. Mike's right behind you.
Hey, OG, Fifi from New York Daily News. You talked about rhythm before. Is it kind of hard to kind of generate rhythm when there's so much stopping and going throughout the game, whether it's turnovers, foul calls, that type of things?
Yeah, I mean, the stops and go and all the fouls, I mean, that's just how the game went today. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess it affects the rhythm, but we just have to deal with it. You know, every game's different. Some games there's no stoppages, and some games there's a bunch. So we just have to respond and be professional and be ready to go.
On your left, fifth row in the back.
OG, Bobby Childs, WBLS. I'm curious, you know, you talk about watching a film. Are there plays that you think about right now that you're anxious to go look at to break it down even more? They have more penetration with their guards than they normally do. So I'm just curious, are there specific things you want to look at when you first look at the tape?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you don't want to just allow paint touches. So just reviewing the film, seeing where we could have been better, where we could have helped more, where we could have stopped the ball earlier and prevented paint touches and sprays and gone from there.
Any final question? All right, thank you.
Really try to relax. The playoffs is like I've never said that word, a whirlwind. It's like, it's hard to put your head out of the water, and sometimes it's like, I don't even gotta watch the game back right away. I just need like a little time off, let my brain cool down, and recover. Recover as much for the body as for the mind.
First row. Oh, is this working? Yeah. Carol from Sportico. Over the summer, you worked with KG, Hakeem, and some monks as well. What in particular did you learn in the offseason that's really helped you in the playoffs, and particularly with this pressure currently being down?
I remember running laps and laps during the summer, and like my hamstrings were burning. But I mean, I was pushing through because that was what I was trying to push my limits. And in the playoffs, I felt my hamstrings burning from running so much, playing sometimes 25 game minutes in a row. So the physical aspect is really the difference maker.
Victor, going back to what was the difference at the end of the game, Steph Castle comes up with the big three and also the free throws. I was curious what you thought of his role there and then the scene with his free throws where the crowd's going crazy?
Steph's role? I mean, so he might be the most mature player on our team, and he's nowhere near the oldest. And he's been in big games before. He's been in big games before the NBA. I'm not surprised by this, and he's shown over and over again that he's capable and that we are right to put our trust in him. And at the end, I didn't even hear the crowd really. I was focused on trying to get the rebound in case he missed, but that was useless.
Even on nights where De'Aaron's not shooting the best, he's still finding ways to impact you guys. He led the team in assists tonight. Just how would you describe your trust in him, at the end of games, especially for him to deliver for you guys?
I mean, the trust, if it's not even a question, that's his identity. So the trust is just complete. We know it's reliable as they get, and experienced at that. So he brings everything we need.
You obviously got Knicks fans very riled up throughout the game. At one point, there was a colorful chant directed towards you. It seems as though you may be New York's newest villain. Is that kind of the ultimate compliment?
I guess I'm nowhere near Trae Young level, though.
Trae Young reference knows his history. Wembanyama had 32, so did Jalen Brunson. We will hear from the Knicks captain when we come back after this. Welcome back. It's a busy week ahead. Tomorrow night at 8, Knicks Talk Live. Our pregame coverage Wednesday prior to Game 4 begins with a special edition of Knicks Talk Live at 7, and then our regular pregame show at 7:30. Knicks Talk Live on Thursday and Friday at 8, and Game 5, our coverage begins at 7:30 on Saturday night. Jalen Brunson tonight, 32 points in the Knicks loss. Here's the Knicks captain.
I think we'd turned the ball over a lot, first and foremost, but then also we were fouling a lot and put them at the line about 30 times. And with our live ball turnovers, and they got them out in transition, and they were capitalizing off of those. So we were definitely fouling a lot.
Next, Dan, back left.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Jalen, you guys went 7 for 27 from the field in the fourth, 20 points. Just what was contributing to some of the stagnancy? Did you like the looks you were getting in the fourth?
I mean, I like some of the looks, but also think that we were pretty stagnant. So there's definitely things that we can learn from. But it starts with our approach when we start the game and we start the half. And I don't think we did well. I don't think I did well either.
Ian on your left.
Ian Begley, SNY. Jalen, just for you in general, did you get to the spots that you wanted to get to, or are they bothering you on some of your shot attempts?
I mean, maybe a mix of both, but I think most importantly, the little things, the attention to detail, the stuff that we pride ourselves on, we didn't do tonight. So regardless of whatever shots we were getting, the little things can make or break a game.
Second row on your left, Rohan.
Jalen, obviously there was a lot of anticipation for this game from the fans. It's been 27 years. How would you describe your own personal anticipation headed into this game, the moments before? What were some of your emotions as you took the court?
I was locked in, ready to go. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Over here on your right, fourth row.
Jalen, Marshall from Weibo, China. Before tonight, a lot of people were already talking about a 3-0 lead or even a championship. How important it is for a team to stay grounded when everyone around you is looking ahead?
Yeah, it's very important. We've consistently talked to each other about everything being 0-0. Even now, it's 0-0. And moving on and trying to stay focused. There are going to be a lot of distractions, positive and negative, but most importantly is how we compose ourselves as a team, how to make sure we have accountability as a team, and we win or lose, we move forward as a team.
In the back towards the center.
Alder Almo from Pillstar.com. Jalen, what happened between you and Victor in the first quarter, and did their level of physicality bother you?
No, to answer your second question. And whatever you saw is what you saw.
We're going to go up here in the front. Just wait for the mic 1 second. Third seating, Chris.
Hi, Jalen. Chris Persian in Clutch Points. You guys have not lost a game in quite some time, and there's nothing good about losing a game. How do you take this feeling, put it in a box, and you put it towards Game 4?
I think win or lose as a team, our mindset is always getting better the next day. And so we've done our best to try and learn from wins over the past couple of weeks. But now we have to learn from a loss. But I think the most important thing is that we were going to learn regardless, because we knew there were things that we were going to improve on, going to have to improve on going into next game. So mindset stays the same.
Anyone with a final question? Last one here in the third row.
Jalen, Joe Pantorno, AM New York. Looked like with about 5.5 minutes left, you guys inbounded the ball, got it to OG, who was open, and the refs called it dead. Did you guys get an explanation of what happened there?
I mean, I didn't. Maybe the coaches did, but the ball was handed to me, so I passed it. So that's all I got for you.
Thank you, Joe.
I don't give him.
All right, the captain there with his post-game comments. Spurs now trail 2-1. Next game, Game 4, Wednesday night. Stay with us. All right, so Game 4 Wednesday, special Knicks Talk Live at 7. Pre-game, the normal pre-game show begins at 7:30. What do you think happens now as we go forward in this series? And it is a series now.
Well, you got to have the attitude of must win. You got to approach Wednesday's game as a must win if you're the Knicks. You got to feel that way, put that urgency in the locker room right from the start of the game, and understand that 3-1, you're in full control. 2-2, now all of a sudden it's a series that is not in your control, and there's a lot of days off in between, which means a lot more rest for the Spurs.
Yeah, it'd be 2-2 going back to San Antonio for Game 5.
And realistically, I think it's been a little bit of a fantasy this playoffs to see us 2 sweeps in a row and to see this team win the first 2 games in San Antonio. So it becomes a real series now. It becomes a psychological battle where every game that you win or lose, you readjust. There's big conversations. You got to figure out what's next. And so this is the finals. You're not supposed to win every game, but they've been rolling. They've been playing well.
Pressure squarely on the Knicks. It really is. For the first time in this series, they got a game they got to win. They don't want to go 2-2, because then the pressure completely shifts and the momentum completely shifts. So they got to take care of business on their home court. The pressure's on them to win Game 4.
All right, so here's what we have for you. Knicks Talk Live tomorrow here at 8 o'clock. Wednesday, our pregame coverage begins at 7 with a special edition of Knicks Talk Live, and then 7:30, our typical hour-long pregame show. Tonight, Spurs back into the series as they win 115-111. Knicks lead is now down to 2-1 as they finally lose. Their 13-game winning streak is over. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow for Knicks Talk Live at 8. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free, or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.